All right, we'll see if we can't give you a quick tour and a preview of the layout, and maybe give you an idea of a little bit of the layout plan, and just a little bit of context of where things are at. So currently we are looking at the roundhouse in Salida. Several locomotives in there currently. The roundhouse lead is 4-rail, and that will lead over here pretty much to the maintenance area. A little bit cluttered, work in progress, but behind where the coal tower is sitting is where the shop facility is going to go. You can see here there's a transition from 4-rail to 3-rail, and the entire Salida yard will be dual gauge hand spiked. So all the track you see right now is just temporary, just getting a little bit of the feel for how things are going to flow around the layout. But coming around here as we loop to the main yard area, this section you'll have the oil house, a couple of the large water tanks, and this is us transitioning, looking down to the main Salida yard. There's one of the many dual gauge switches I will have. That was actually done by Brad at Signature Switches. Does a fantastic job, and I'm very pleased with the work. But as we transition into the Salida yard, this is approximately the switch where the narrow gauge will divert and head over the Arkansas River Bridge towards Marshall Pass. The area to the right is going to be the dual gauge yard, which will lead you down this way through the yard area. And the plan is at the end of this section, still working on this part right here, it will curve around and the barrel transfer will sit down there. It will transition once you get past barrel. Of course, the bench work is not up there yet, and it will travel around this corner here and transition to pure P48, and we'll have a pretty good P48 run down this direction, and it will go into a tunnel under the helix here, and I will have the P48 curve around, and it will actually meet up with where the Baldwin branch coming out of Gunnison will come in. So there's going to be a meeting point at what I'm calling Pueblo, CFI, and Baldwin. That way the live coal loads can be transferred from the standard gauge at that point back to the narrow gauge mine, and then start the cycle all over. All right, we're back in Salida, and you can see there's a few narrow gauge engines sitting there that just come in from the pass. And there's the Arkansas River Bridge. It is already set up with dual gauge. It's hand spiked. It is an Atlas bridge kit. I did the ties and the rail custom to accommodate the 3-rail. So as we leave Salida via the Arkansas River Bridge, you'll come into what we call West Salida. There will be a switch here, and there'll be a long siding with several industries that will be serviced through this section. As we travel through West Salida, the yard will terminate roughly in this location, but as we come around this curve, there is another industry that will be serviced. Haven't done any work on it yet, but I'm going to redo the grain silo here, the mill, and that will be an industry that will be served by both narrow and standard gauge boxcars. So we continue west. The end of the dual gauge will be somewhere in this vicinity, and we are on the narrow gauge headed towards Gunnison. And again, this is all temporary track. Right now, it doesn't really represent the exact flow of the track, but we are traveling around now, and we're getting to Otto. This is a bridge that I scratch built. Came across the stone abutments, and I scratch built the bridge using an old Lionel girder bridge. So this is Otto, which is west of Salida. As we leave Otto, we continue west towards Marshall Pass. The next feature that we come to is the helix, and you can see westbound out of Salida, this is where you enter the helix. Now we're on the inside of the helix, and you can see several different levels. It's actually 5 levels to this helix. So we will travel around and gain elevation. Where you will exit the top of the helix is grays, and there will be a water tank represented where this one is right now. And you will actually be able to see the trains again at this point. The helix will be walled off, so once a train enters the helix, you won't see it unless you go inside and actually view the train from the interior. And you can see we're still traveling west, up to 4% grade here. Traveling around the top of the helix here. This will all be exposed as we continue the run to Marshall Pass. Now as we exit the top of the helix, we curve back around and reconnect to the dividing wall I have here in the center of the room, and we are on the last leg to the summit. This is a view looking back downgrade eastbound from Marshall Pass. You can see I kind of have a switch laid out where the switch on the east portal of the snow shed will reside, and then that transitions into the switch and the siding inside the snow shed here, or what will be the snow shed. If we look around, this will all be part of the snow shed and the Marshall Pass facility. You see the turntable, and it loops around to the other side there, continuing westbound. Once you exit the snow shed, you will begin to head downgrade towards Gunnison, and we will follow the line now from Marshall Pass down to Sargent and Gunnison. Just another view of the track looking back towards Marshall Pass. That's heading east, but we are still heading west towards Gunnison. This area here is a big reverse curve as we still are descending, and on the other side of this reverse curve, pretty much where that planer sitting is going to be Shawano. There'll be a water tank and a few other little structures and a siding. Okay, now we're actually sitting at the location of where Shawano will reside. There will be a siding along this portion. And to give you a little bit of context, below Shawano, you can currently see the Salida roundhouse. All right, as we're leaving Shawano, we're still heading downgrade. And the next stop will be Chester Siding. Crossover bridge over Marshall Creek here. And around to where Chester Siding will reside. Again, to give you a little bit of context of where we're at and where we've been, directly below this section, you will see the line that headed directly out of the Salida yard area. So again, we're still headed downgrade. This will be the Chester Siding location. Everything here is just temporary. Been having a little bit of fun running trains as I've got things put up, and certainly want to make sure that the plan will work out, and everything has been working well thus far. This bridge is the Troughton Creek Bridge. This is a bridge I actually acquired from Tom Troughton's SN3 layout, and I converted it to ON3. Tom was a friend and was a great mentor, and certainly an inspiration for a lot of the things that I've gotten into the hobby. So I was real honored to acquire the bridge and incorporate it into the layout. As we head westbound from Troughton Creek Bridge, we're still headed downgrade. We are now on the outside of the helix, and this location right in this curve will be tank 7. So there will be a water tank that will reside here, and this is really the start of the 4%. All right, as we leave tank 7, going to wind around the other side of the helix here. And again, the helix will be covered up. You will not see the inside of the helix. I do think that this 4th level of the helix will be exposed to at least break up the transition through the helix and give operators just a view of the train as it continues to climb through the helix. So this portion here I'm considering keeping open. And again, there's the top level of the helix there. But we're still traveling around westbound through a little S-curve here as we arrive in Sargent. Have just a few of the switches kind of laid out. I don't have all the track kind of laid out and in place at this point, but this kind of gives you a rough idea of the Sargent yard. You can see the water tank down there in the distance. The depot is behind it. We'll see that here in a second. And just give you a little quick tour. It's not exact, and it'll be a little bit different, but where that track diverging where the stock car is sitting, that will be where the coal trestle will go. I have about 4.5 feet, so it's going to be a lot of compression going on, but I do want to represent that structure as it was a major part of the Sargent yard. You can see here there was a few stock cars left over. Thought we had cleaned the yards out before we get back to work over here, so we're probably gonna have to make another run to clear the yard out. But you can see the water tank, the depot, and the area here is where the Y will actually reside. And you can kind of see the Y switch there. And this little bridge I scratch built, this will actually reside just on the tail of the Y here, and cross Marshall Creek again in Sargent. So Another view of Sergeant looking eastbound. Nice long siding. And again, to give you a little bit of context of where we're at, I have not built the platform yet for Marshall Pass, but you can look directly above Sergeant here in the interior of my dividing wall. And there's the ladder that I was just on a few minutes ago as we were in Marshall Pass. So Marshall Pass resides at that location above Sergeant. And as we continue to travel westbound, we leave Sergeant, come around the interior of the wall here, and we will be on the home stretch to Gunnison here. You will see a couple bridges that I've scratch built here that will be incorporated in this section. And currently a lot of clutter on the main line, but that will soon disappear and track will go down. Again, a little bit more of a staging area for some of the tools and things that I've got going on here. But this is us as we arrive in the Gunnison yard. The Gunnison yard will approximately extend to about this location, and there will be a 3-track fiddle yard here as we arrive Gunnison. Again, a lot of clutter, a lot of stuff going on, but you will see this whole area here, which resides under the reverse curve heading to Shawano, will be laid out for the remainder of the Gunnison yard, and then we will loop around here and you'll have a rough idea of where the coaling tower will sit. And then we will head this way, get past all the clutter. On the end here is where the Gunnison turntable will sit, and then directly over the Salida roundhouse area, I'll have the Gunnison roundhouse, which will sit over that location. So you can kind of see that we started at Salida, we worked ourselves all the way around the dividing wall, which is in the shape of a big horseshoe for an easy description, and we've arrived at Gunnison on this middle level here. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, but hopefully it gave you somewhat of an idea of the line. And it's a point-to-point, Gunnison to Salida, and coming out of Gunnison there will also be a branch line to Baldwin, which will again reconnect somewhere over there under the helix where the P48 terminates at the CFI / Pueblo, where again the coal loads will be transferred back from standard gauge to narrow gauge, and we'll start the whole cycle of the movements from Baldwin to Salida. So hope you enjoyed the video. I'll keep making some as we go along, but certainly enjoying the process. And this is my first layout, so having a lot of fun.